Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's the last. That was the last event of our presidency, and I feel a little bit relieved. But of course, we continue keep an eye on the international events happening. I just wanted to say, on behalf of myself and my team, my huge appreciation to the press for very constructive dialogue and objective coverage of the Council's work during the months of our presidency. We tried to be transparent, open, by issuing the number of press statements and press elements, providing you with information we could actually share with you from closed meetings and consultations. We cannot say too much sometimes, but when we can, I try to do it. We consider of high importance to keep you informed on the discussions inside the Security Council on key issues of the current agenda. And I really, really appreciate your work. I thank you for the support and cooperation with us. I hope that we will keep contacting and cooperating with you further. I also thank my Security Council colleagues and all our partners for very high appreciation which they expressed today of our work during the January. So we are looking forward to continue working in the Council as a just member of the Council. I hope we can really be helpful to you as well, from time to time coming out and making some statements, probably in our national capacity, but I'll try to be open and transparent in the future. That's what I wanted to say. A couple of questions from you.
Can we ask you about your trip to Washington on Monday? And you can answer this as the President or in your national capacity, whichever gives us more of an insight into what happened in the trip. In terms of what you were shown of Iran, its weaponry, is your view that this has changed the view of many on the Council, and what are the next steps as a result of that trip?
It was a good initiative of Nikki Haley of U.S. delegation to arrange a trip to Washington, D.C., to acquaint the members of the Council with some of the Iranian weaponry, which was, as it was said, it was recovered from Yemen by Saudi troops, and they were given to the U.S. side to demonstrate them here in Washington to the Security Council. We appreciate the effort. Of course, it was important for us to see all the evidences. Unfortunately, we don't know at this point of time how this weaponry was delivered to Yemen. Yemen has been for some time already a place where all different armaments were kind of sent, and when there is a conflict, there is a lot of commercial people who would like to sell the weaponry, sometimes not in a legal way. That's why it was important for us to see it. We have not yet discussed the results of this visit. I'm sure that the members will keep it with them in order to continue discussion on that within the Security Council. But at this point of time, nothing is scheduled. I don't know what members of the Council will do with this evidence. It would be good, of course, to have a very conclusive evidence to say how this kind of armaments appeared in Yemen, because at this point of time there is no any information about that. That was just on display. We saw it. We understand that this was produced in Iran, but no information how it was sent to Yemen. So this is at this point of what I can say, but there was a very good discussion, exchange of views of Security Council members with the President Trump. As usual, it was a very lively, open discussion, and you've seen the press statement which President Trump did. Actually, whatever he said there, it was a topic of discussion. For us, what was important to hear about the position of President Trump on the work with Taliban, with Afghanistan policy. But in general, of course, there were many issues discussed, like unity in the Council, unity of all of us to work and tackle on international problems, including the North Korea, including the counterterrorism efforts, including Syria, Iran, and of course Yemen situation. But I think everybody was very much in tune, talking about the necessity of collective action, that there should be more unity in what we are doing in the Security Council, including the U.S. delegation. So we very much appreciate this visit. I think it was very important for all of us, and we think that that helps for the Security Council members to understand better the U.S. policies and their stance on different issues.
Mr. President, I have a question. You can answer this because you're president, but also wearing your hat as ambassador, and also because your country trades with Russia. Their ambassador to North Korea today said that the oil products should not be reduced to that country, which pretty much kind of contravenes the idea of the resolution passed in the Council. I'd like to get your response to that.
I probably can answer in my national capacity to that issue. During any deliberations at the Security Council, we try to be careful about humanitarian impact of any sanctions on North Korea. We think that, the sanctions should be smart. They shouldn't be just, affecting everybody and everyone, but only those who are responsible for the nuclear program of North Korea.
Would you agree with him then on this?
I think that we want to see North Korea to come to the negotiating table. We saw some positive examples at the beginning of this year. It is for us a very hopeful signal and sign that North Korea is willing to warm up their relations with South Korea, and we very much welcome that. The sanctions will not be removed until the North Korea will definitely and clearly state that they will stop working on their nuclear program. We are for denuclearization of Korean Peninsula, and I'm sure that the Security Council will remain firm in continuing the sanctions until we see the retract from North Korea on nuclear weapons program. So at this point of time, I don't think there will be any change in the stance. We will be very much looking forward for the actions of North Korea on North Korean file, a nuclear file, and then we can consider further actions on that.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. A couple of follow-ups to James's question and then my question. I know that the President Trump went around the table and every ambassador got to say something. What issues did you raise, and how did you come away feeling about his commitment to the UN, both politically and financially? And could you also give us an update on what's happening with the Syria humanitarian resolution that was submitted by Kuwait and Sweden? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. Actually, as you said, President Trump was very friendly, was very open. Of course, he just had a quick exchange of views with each and every permanent representative who was there. But as for me, I actually would like to say that just a few days ago, my president paid a visit to Washington. And it was a very constructive, a very productive trip. My president had a meeting with President Trump and discussed almost all of those issues which were raised during this luncheon which we had at the White House. And I actually conveyed to him that all the agreements which were reached during this very productive meeting, when they discussed all different issues, my president has started to work on them and delivering on these agreements. And it was his remark as well that it was a very great visit, and the U.S. administration is willing to work with us on the issues. And just to give you some highlights of that visit, I should say that we discussed the North Korean issue, we discussed U.S.-Russia relations, they discussed also the Syrian conflict as well. And our position is very clear on all of those issues. And there was some understanding which we got from the U.S. side. Regarding Syria conflict, Kazakhstan is hosting the Syrian talks, Astana talks. And we do everything, and we reiterate it every time, that Astana platform is helping Geneva process. We want to do everything to achieve the political agreement on Syria. And that was important for us. We were talking about the Astana platform as a humanitarian platform where we can achieve the ceasefire, try to work on some other issues there. On U.S.-Russia relations, my president also was very clear. He was talking about the improvement of the relations among the two countries, because that would be helpful for the international peace and security. And we wanted to see some of the ways to work on that. And as for North Korea, it's a big issue, but we of the opinion that Russia and China, they have to be working with United States on that issue, because without those countries, it will be very difficult to achieve any solution there. So my president has already talking to other leaders in order to find some, solution to that issue. So I conveyed that in a very brief, as a very brief message to President Trump. And that was actually my message. And of course, Afghanistan, I said that we very much, as Central Asian countries, would like to see Afghanistan as a prosperous, stable country. And Central Asian countries today are eagerly working on having more infrastructural projects, connectivity with Afghanistan, as a way to achieve sustainable security. This is our approach. Security and development should go hand in hand. It should be a regional approach, not just individual country, but it should be a regional approach, regional effort of the countries in the area to help Afghanistan to become prosperous, because the market within Afghanistan is very small and they need investments from outside. Then we can really progress on that.
On the Syria humanitarian resolution,
Yes,
what's
as
the
for
status?
the Syrian humanitarian statement, there was an effort to help Mr. Lowcock with his 5 asks, which he wanted to have a progress on that issue. There was an effort from our Kuwait and Sweden colleagues to come with some Syrian humanitarian statement. Unfortunately, it was not yet, we have not yet come to the positive outcome of the discussions. So the question now is referred to Kuwaiti presidency, and probably they will continue discussing it. I don't know at this point of time what will be the status of that, but we think it's, we in our national capacity, we support this 5 requests which Mr. Lowcock expressed, and we would like to assist in any way we can to the, mutually acceptable solution to that issue.